And welcome back to Political Update. I'm Paul Lisnick. I'm visiting with Mayor of Palos Hills, Gerald Bennett, mayor and former chair and chair of a million different things. Again, thanks for being with me. You know, we're going to talk about CMAP, planning of the city, and also a little look back at the Olympics, a little post-mortem. But first, let me talk about, you are a mayor working with other mayors. And you were the chair of the Metropolitan Mayors Caucus. So talk to me about the ways in which municipalities, if Springfield isn't helping you, then obviously you can work together in the flavor of joint services. Talk to me about how you do that, because I know you're a champion of that.
Yes, and I think I've spent a good 29 of my 30 years doing it. I love working with other mayors, starting with our Southwest Conference of Mayors, moving to the Metropolitan Mayors Caucus, which is the regional organization representing 272 municipalities, started by Mayor Daley, and then finally the Illinois Municipal League, representing almost 1,400 cities and villages across the state. We have a lot on our plates, and we know that we can only do so much internally within our organizations. And if we reach out to one another, there's all kinds of opportunities for us to share services, to cut our costs, and still deliver quality, quality type services. So that's been the premise of a lot of the work over many of the years, and some great things are coming out. As I always say, we have never waited for the state or the Fed to come up with some idea. They have their own problems, and it's up to the local government to try to solve those problems. And we have some. We get into CMAP a little bit later, but even right now, today, we're working with one another to deliver services and do it at a reduced cost.
When I think of the services that you deliver, I mean, you're dealing with police and fire and those kind of things. Are municipalities willing to share those services across the board?
Sure. Almost 28 years ago, we formed Southwest Central Dispatch. We took basically 10 or 11 communities, all had individual dispatchers, took them out of those individual houses, put them under one roof, and right now we have one of the best dispatch services in the nation, all state of the art, and we do it by saving. We're also doing it by saving hundreds of thousands of dollars. We all contribute to it, but not at the level of what it would cost us to do it individually with having 7 or 8 full-time dispatchers, where we're contributing to a total of 7 or 8 or 10 dispatchers. But now, in fact, it's grown now. We're up to 17 communities that are contributing towards that effort. So that's an example of what's taken place some time back. And now we're moving closer into that mode where other towns are approaching each other about forming dispatching services. We talked some time ago about fire services. I think that's an easy and accomplished way of bringing combined services under one roof, cutting costs.
How far does the reach go in terms of joint services? What I mean by that is, you've got the Southwest Conference of Mayors, so that's a region you're dealing with. But given the financial problems of the state, and you've also been tied, of course, with the Illinois Municipal League, is your vision one that says, you know what, towns that connect to each other can work with each other, but this connection can grow and grow and grow? I mean, how far can it reach beyond the state and provide the kind of joint services and still be effective?
Actually with fire, it's called MABITS, and they're a joint fire organization where if there's a major disaster, they're called into one another. Right now, without even combining various fire departments, they have combined services where if it's an extra alarm fire, the other fire departments come in. And in fact, we did a survey. 66% of most police or most fire and fire district calls are outside of their city or district right now. And they may go within a 5-mile or 6-mile radius. So it's already happening over there. It's just somebody putting it all together and saying, look, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it in an efficient manner, meaning that we may not need 6 ladder trucks, maybe just 1. We may not need to have all this extra equipment. It can be combined under one shift, 24/7, those type of things.
Is this ultimately an answer to Springfield? Is it a challenge to Springfield? Is it both?
I think, again, when we look at Springfield, hopefully, again, it's a partnership that we have with them. And if they recognize the type of things we're doing, yes, if it takes a state statute to recognize intergovernmental agreements, then help us do that. Write the legislation to help us do it. So we're not looking for money from them. We know that we can do this on our own. But if from a legal standpoint, if we need some help, give it to us.
Let's wear the CMAP hat, which is, of course, the Chicago Metropolitan Area Planning Commission that you are chair of. It used to be that I can remember talking about Chicago 2020. Mm-hmm. Well, that's almost upon us, isn't it? You're looking at 2040.
Yes, the plan that comes out this December is pretty exciting. We're hitting the gamut from transportation to land planning to economic development. We're going to address issues like taxation and where it is now, where it maybe need to go in the future. If we can't count on the state, then maybe as a region, we're going to have to start thinking directly what impacts us, what affects us, and looking at revenues from that aspect of it. From an economic development standpoint, where do we put our investments? Where do we take the land use in the future and compile it to where you have a location of business and next to it housing and next to that recreation? So and the mobility of that is all within 5 miles.
How flexible can these plans be? If the plan comes out in December, you're planning out, this is 30 years away that you're talking about. Now, it might have been a time that, things didn't change that much over 30 years, I don't know. But these days, we wake up one day and we have iPads. I mean, everything's different, Jerry. So how do you look ahead in 30 years and know that you really are tapping into what life will be like then?
I think it's setting the basic sustainable things in this plan, that knowing that technology and things will change with it. But there's core elements here, and it's jobs, it's housing, it's transportation, and how do you plan those things out in the future? We may get trains that are faster in the future, but how far out are you going to connect those things? What's the investment, and is that investment cost effective to go 100 miles out of the metro area, or 200 miles, or do we invest right in our immediate area?
And of course, and when you look at trains, when you look at, again, who knows what would have happened to the airline industry after 2001, and so trains become more important. Trains become almost a mode of choice. Let me look at the Olympics. It's not unrelated, actually, because had we gotten the Olympics, it would have impacted that CMAP plan, I'm sure. So, well, first of all, there's the little, we didn't get it. I know, actually, I remember you predicted, you weren't sure we would get it, right?
Right. As we talked, I really felt politically that Brazil had set itself up, and knowing just the short history of the Olympics, that it was going to go that way. It was
just
really
didn't think it would happen that fast.
It was really unfortunate. I mean, Chicago had a great plan, and you saw at the end days, or the day of the decision. I mean, the hundreds of people all over thousands of people all over the Chicago area who were finally into it, and unfortunately it didn't happen.
And had all right. So,
but as a parallel course, and also which took place last year, was the Burnham Centennial. Daniel Burnham, the plan of Chicago, 100th anniversary took place last year. So all those things kind of came together that we made people start thinking about where we're going to go in the future.
And that's right. So with or without the Olympics, we still move ahead.
Yes.
By the way, the planning you do now, do you start with the Burnham plan? Did it all begin with the Burnham plan for Chicago?
Well, I think the concept and the idea of make no little plans. And Chicago's always been the city of big shoulders, and I think we still, I believe, live in one of the greatest metropolitan areas in this country, if not the world. There's a lot to do, a lot that can be done, and hopefully we are. Mayors are going to work together. Hopefully we can get the General Assembly to work with us.
All right. Well, I hope that when December comes, you'll come back and talk about the plan and share with us exactly what it does say and what it is looking ahead to say. So I appreciate that. Well, we've covered a lot, haven't we?
Yes.
Thank you for being with me.
Well, thank you.
And good luck if you head back down to Springfield and talk to those folks in the new term. Maybe you'll accomplish something with that.
Very good. Thanks,
Jerry. My guest has been the mayor of Palos Hills, Jerry Bennett, and all those other hats that he wears. I appreciate your being with us as well. If you'd like to check our website out, please feel free at cn100.tv. Send us an email. We like hearing from you. I'm Paul Lisnick, and this is Political Update. Bye-bye.